In this video, we're going to look at some ways that you can develop awesome introductions for your argumentative essay. There are countless ways that you can begin a piece of writing in order to hook your reader and get their attention. But in this video, we're just going to talk about 4 strategies that you can try in your argumentative essay. These strategies are to use a metaphor or simile to create imagery that will support your idea, use the rule of 3 to make an impression, present the counterargument first, or open with a personal anecdote. Again, there are lots of ways you can open an essay, but we're going to talk about these 4 ways so that you can pick one to try with your argumentative essay. So let's look at some examples. One way you can draw your reader in is to use some descriptive words that paint a picture in the reader's mind. This is creating imagery. To do this, think about the pictures that are created in your own mind when you think about the topic of the essay. Are there any metaphors or similes that you know of that relate to this topic? And what mental pictures does the topic bring to mind for you? Are they positive or are they negative? Here's what this could look like. If our prompting question was, is competition necessary for success? We would want to pick up that the key words are competition and success. Those are important topics to this prompt. So we would think about what words come to mind when we hear the words competition or success. Here are a couple of the things that came to my mind. Sometimes competition is related to climbing a mountain or reaching the top or hitting the pinnacle of success. One symbol that comes to mind when I think of competition and success is winning a blue ribbon. Negatively, sometimes competition and success is called the rat race. Success is also referred to as a ladder, a symbol of climbing a ladder for success. These are just some ideas of the types of things that come to mind when I hear competition and success. So think of the topics that are being asked about in your prompt and brainstorm if there are any images that come to your mind when you think of those topics. Those might be words that you can build into your introduction to help also paint that picture in your reader's mind. Here is one way that using the imagery of the ladder of success could be built into an introduction. We open with the imagery and we carry that through to our thesis statement. Another interesting way that you could open your introduction and hook your reader is by following the rule of 3, and there are a couple of different ways that this could look. You could open by making 3 power statements or declarations, words that aren't the same word, not repetition, but 3 words or phrases that are similar in idea related to your topic. Another idea is to structure 3 sentences to open up your introduction that use anaphora. Anaphora means you're repeating words at the beginning of a sentence for emphasis. Let's look at some examples. So here's an example of how using the rule of 3 might work if our prompt was, is competition necessary for success? Be the best, work hard, win. These are concepts drilled into us from a young age. And then the introduction goes on from there. You see the 3 statements, be the best, work hard, win, help get that idea of competition in the reader's mind. And then my introduction will go on to present my side on the issue. Here's another example that uses the rule of 3 in its opening. In this example, we're not making 3 declarative different statements. We're going to structure 3 sentences or 3 rhetorical questions that have similar beginnings to them to help emphasize an idea. Repeating the use of words at the beginning of a sentence is called anaphora. Am I good enough? Am I strong enough? Am I going to succeed despite the odds? These questions go through everyone's mind as they think about success. So by opening with the repetition of am I, that's the anaphora use, I'm helping the reader start to think about the topic I'm going to present. and then I go on from there to present my thesis in my introduction. A third option for opening up your argumentative essay is to open with the counterargument. There's a couple of strategies for where to put the counterargument in your persuasive essay. Sometimes it's better to put it at the beginning. Sometimes you wait till the end and put it with your conclusion. And sometimes you bury it in the middle with the evidence. But one strategy, an intentional strategy, could be to open your essay with the counterargument. The important thing to keep in mind is the counterargument does not just say what the other side's claim is. It also offers a rebuttal or an explanation of why this thinking is faulty. So for example, using our same sample thesis of is competition necessary for success, you could open presenting the other side. It might read like this. Some people have the mindset that if you aren't competing, you can't be succeeding. This faulty thinking prevents a person from reaching their personal potential because they're always looking at others and not at themselves. So that's the opening, the counterargument, and then I present my thesis. Competition is not a necessity for success. Instead, a person should look inside to see if they are working to their fullest potential. And just to state again, remember, your counterargument should show why the thinking of the other side of the claim is faulty. The last strategy we're going to talk about for creating an interesting introduction is to open with a short story or an anecdote. Now, this short story is not going to be something that you're going to repeat as evidence in your body paragraphs. It's something different to introduce the idea in your thesis. Here's how this could look. As a small child, I was forced into competitive ballet. I was brainwashed that the only way I could make something of myself was if I was successful in competition. I learned many years later that competition isn't the key ingredient for success. Personal commitment and dedication are more important and build character that lasts a lifetime. You can see I made a personal connection and then went on to give my thesis right away. My body paragraphs are going to provide different evidence that support my reasons that personal commitment and dedication are more important and build character that lasts a lifetime. So before we wrap up this video on introductions, I want to go over some no-nos or things you absolutely should not do in the introduction for your argumentative essay. You want to avoid using the phrase, in this essay, I'm going to tell you, and then you go on. You don't need that. Just tell the reader what you want to say. Second, you don't want to use the question, is competition necessary for success? No. Here's why. Third, you don't want to jump into your evidence without an introduction paragraph in which you describe your thesis. It is possible to create introductions and to write an essay and build your thesis into your ideas, but for the most part, we're not skilled enough writers to be able to do that well. So as a good strategy for success on your EOC for your argumentative essay, go ahead and build your thesis into an introduction paragraph. Then structure it so you move into your body paragraphs where you give your evidence, and then you wrap it up with a conclusion. You do want to repeat your thesis at the end of your paper, somehow in your conclusion, but don't let the conclusion be the first place that your reader finds your thesis. Build it into your introduction. Last, make sure that your introduction doesn't focus on just part of the prompt without addressing the whole question. So in our example, is competition necessary for success? It might be tempting to start to talk about competition, what is competition, give examples of competition, but never get to the last part of the question, is it necessary for success? So make sure that your thesis statement and your introduction addresses the whole prompt, because that will help make sure that your body paragraphs stay on track. I hope you found this helpful and you use some of these strategies to help build better argumentative essays.